One day he found an elaborately fabricated drum.
YouTube, what's going on? Trey back again, hit you with a video. Now this video right here is about Pastor Dewey Smith he's the senior pastor teacher of the House of Hope in Atlanta and the House of Hope in Macon, Georgia. Now, a lot of people know about Dewey Smith, a lot of people don't. He's an upcoming rising TV preacher celebrity, if you ask me. We done seen him with TD Jakes, we done seen him with a lot of well-known other preachers. And to me, Dewey Smith, I agree with some of the stuff he says, and some of the stuff I don't. Just like, a lot of people might agree with me, some of the stuff I say, and some of the stuff I may not say. But one thing that I have a hard time accepting is when the church, and when I mean the church, I'm talking about everybody in the church, and including the leader also, they get the most blame also. But the people in the church also should learn to study the word and show thyself approved, show themselves approved. So that way when you study something for yourself, guess what? Can't nobody come and just regurgitate anything that they have read in their interpretation. Because you got to understand one thing about people is that people are creatures of habit. People do things and a lot of people will try to turn that same thing that they read and interpret to you something that the scripture actually doesn't say. And I'm not saying that he has done that in every case, but he has done that in a few cases, because like one video that he made, he's going against homosexuality. The next video, it's like he's saying that we shouldn't judge people who's homosexuals. And I you know what I'm saying? I agree with that part, to each their own. But at the same time, if you're going to put yourself in these certain positions and you over a church, you have to flat out, be honest with the people, because you cannot serve the world and serve God also. Just like they said, you cannot serve the Most High and also serve the devil. You cannot partake in evil and also partake in good, and then get up here and tell these people, who a lot of them don't even study to show themselves approved. That's why they constantly go to these institutions, because these churches ain't nothing but institutions and corporations. They go into these buildings and they leave just as empty as they was before they even went in there. Now, have you ever went to church and you leave church and you just mad, what I'm saying? Feel like something doesn't happen, or or your just mood done changed, because most likely somebody in that church done rubbed you the wrong way, or something that you heard in church, or something somebody done said. A lot of mess be going on. But it seems ironic to me that every time that the people feel the need to cause controversy, that they will automatically attack homosexuality like that's the only thing that's wrong in the church. No, that's not the only thing that's wrong in the church, even though it's a huge big problem in the church. But to me, that's not the biggest issue in the church. The biggest issue in the church, to me, number one, is the lack of love and compassion for your own brother or sister. Because if you really love somebody, you will keep all the commandments. You wouldn't have to go down from 1 through 10, 1 through 30, or whatever, because love solves and heals everything. So if you love somebody, you would not hurt you would not hurt them, you would not steal from them, you would not lie on them, you would not if you're married to someone, you would not cheat on them. So you will live righteously. But at the same time, you're always going to have what they call your backsliders and stuff. People who go to church, you might see them still doing other stuff. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go to church and just sleep in the church all the time, because trust me, it don't matter if you stay right next door to the church and you go all day long. If you're going to do something, you're going to do it. You already know that. Let's keep it real. But at the same time, it's very strange to me how Dewey will sit up here and basically state that you cannot inspire somebody and at the same time antagonize them. You cannot tell them anything, then antagonize them. See, that's what's wrong with people more than anything, is the fact that we live in a day and age where you have people who don't want you to tell them nothing. It was a little different, even though I'm not old, but it was a little different when I was a child. We listened. When we went to church, we listened. And true enough, you always had sin in the mess. You always had preachers sleeping around. You always had the women in the church sleeping around. You always had homosexuality going on, gays, lesbian, whatever you want to call it. You always had that, but it was very low key and subtle. Now, we always kind of knew that one person who was really out, what do you want to say, like Dewey said, the choir director who was gay, who could lead songs real good, who had a wonderful voice, who just had all kinds of musical talents. Of course, we done seen some of those people still going to church, and you be like, well, why is that person doing this? And they getting paid handsomely. Some of them getting paid $1,000 every Sunday, $2,000, $3,000, depends on how big your church is, how many members. So we always seen this coming up in the church, especially coming up in the church in the black community. We always seen this, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not talking about the people from the other side of the tracks, because, I wasn't never really going to the other side of the tracks. My church home was Church of God in Christ, Kojic, like I tell the people all the time. And that's why I kind of stopped going to Kojic, but kind of not stopped going. That's why I stopped going to actually that church, because it was just so much mess going on. And I'm going to tell you something from a personal experience. The biggest lie somebody told me, well, one of the biggest lies somebody told me, they said, if you want you a good woman, get you a church woman. But see, that's the key right there. They said get you a church woman, not a woman that's in a church. See, I wouldn't need no church woman or woman in church. I would just need a God-fearing woman, because if she's a God-fearing woman, I'm talking about at that time in my life, if she's a God-fearing woman, guess what? She's not going to cheat on me. She's not going to do anything to hurt me. She's going to have my best interests at heart, and I'm going to have hers at heart. I mean, she would basically just love me. Whereas you go to church and you meet somebody, they're basically, not everybody, but they're wolves in sheep clothing, coming there with mini skirts all tight on. You can see all up the crack of their ass and stuff. I mean, then walking around and knowing damn well, like, why would you wear certain clothes to church? Like I said in my other videos, the same clothes that you would wear to clubs or nightclubs or to sports bars, they wear these same short, tight ass dresses to church. And before you leave the house, already what you're trying to do when you put the clothes on, you want to look sexy, that you want to show off your little curves. I understand that. But at the same time, it's no different than the preachers walking there with their super tight pants on, sitting down, how they pull their pants all the way up so you can see their scrotums and stuff, and so you can see their bulge, their print. I mean, it's like a huge circus. But I find it very funny and very sad also, that the same people who Dewey said that we shouldn't criticize, and I'm not talking about homosexuality, I'm talking about everybody in a whole, point blank is this right here. People going to do what they want to do, and like I said, I'm not here to judge no one, because we all have fell short of the glory and the grace at the same time. But you have to keep in mind also, why do people do the things they do? Why would he chose to speak on that certain subject? And you have to understand also, because let me find that also, because if you go to where he said in Leviticus, where about the woman, if you want to not eat shrimp, not eat anything of the sea, basically saying you shouldn't eat anything of the sea. That's what the book says. I don't know if I think that's the Old Testament that says that you shouldn't eat anything of the sea. That's why I'm talking about shrimps, catfish and stuff like that. But it also says a lot of other things also. And what's this things about tithes, where you have the Old Testaments, you know what I'm saying, you had tithes, and I guess the New Testament supposed to come along and do away with some of the Old Testament. So, I mean, why would you have an Old Testament and a New Testament? And the New Testament said, well, you don't have to tithe. The Old Testament saying there is a tithe. So somebody explain that also, because I done heard a lot of people say, well, it doesn't necessarily say this. You're supposed to bring the stuff and basically narrow it down. You take your money and you bring 10%, you store it into the storehouse, and they consider the storehouse as the church building. Okay, I get that part right there. But at the same time, you have people who go to these churches, and when they die, the churches won't even bury them if they are not up on their tithes, if they're not keeping up with their tithes. So can somebody please explain that to me also? And it also says that, give me a second right quick. It also says God's condemnation of homosexuality is clear, in that he's opposed it in every age, even in the patriarchs. And that's Genesis 19:1-28. Then you can also go into the law of Moses, Leviticus, since Dewey was talking scriptures out of Leviticus. You go to 18:22, chapter 20, verse 13, or you go in the prophets to Ezekiel 16:46-50, or you can go into the New Testament, Romans chapter 1, 18-27, in Corinthians chapter 6, 9-10, and also Jude 7-8. So we could take this and turn it all kinds of ways. But for him to say one thing, but the book says another thing, that's misleading also in itself. Now, once again, I'm not here to condemn anybody because I am no saint, I'm no angel also. But no matter what you talk about, people in this earth, on this world, in this world, excuse me, have a mind to do what they want to do. And if you're not talking about what they want to talk about, or you're not doing what they want to do, or you're talking against what they're doing, they're going to say you this, you're bashing, you're this phobic, or you this or you're that. But at the same time, I mean, when do we come to some truth? Like I said, you can do what the hell you want to do, but I'm talking about the word. I mean, the way that this pastor and a lot of pastors like him can take these words and twist them. You know, it really amazes me that on one hand you can condemn somebody, but on one hand you uplift the same thing that you're condemning. I don't understand that kind of preaching right there also. But if you go and you go to chapter 2, Timothy chapter 2, verse 4 and 3, and it says, "For the time will come when they will not tolerate sound doctrine, but according to their own desires will multiply teachers for themselves because they have an itch to hear something new." Basically, adding on to the word. That's why you don't take nothing from it and you don't add nothing to it. So let me know what you all think about this video right here, because it amazes me how these preachers and these so-called Christians in these churches can condemn the whole world, when I done seen big churches and a lot of people staying by the churches right now, probably riding by as they listen to me in their car. Some people do listen to me in their vehicles. A lot of them, matter of fact. And you ever notice how big these churches is and how beautiful the architecture is, the masonry on them? Then why across the street do you have projects? Why across the street do you have dilapidated houses? Why across the street do you have people suffering? And when it's supposed to be a sign of hope right across the street from them. Can somebody explain that to me? How can you have this big old building, millions of dollars flowing through, but you have a family right across the street who need somebody just to love them? You know, and the problem with a lot of people in the church is they try to force Jesus on people. You know, let's understand something. First of all, if you want to be real, his name wasn't Jesus. The letter J didn't come into existence until 500 some years ago. So that means a lot of stuff that they told you with the letter J is a complete lie. If you think I'm lying, go look up the Hebrew and see can you find a J from ancient times. I doubt you can. So where did all these Jericho come from? Jerusalem. Somebody been lying to us. So at the same time, we have to take what we can get and treat it like we're eating fish. You know what I'm saying? Like I use the analogy all the time. Take what these people say, even me. You know what I'm saying? Take what you can consume, and the rest you don't need, spit it out. You know, you don't have to agree with everything somebody say, but at the same time, you have to really understand where a person is coming from and the point they're trying to drive home. Because you have a lot of people out here who knows they're telling you a lie, but at the same time, they would do anything to keep their pockets fat. You know, so let's remember that also. But if you know the Most High for yourself, listen, the key is to know him for yourself. You don't have to go inside no building every day. I have a very good memory, and I think, no, I don't think, I know the scripture says, where two or more gathered, I will be joined. It didn't say nothing about you being joined in the church, but it also said upon Peter, upon this rock will I build my church. Now we could take that and make that say, well, he meant where two or more joined, you got to be in this church where he built this rock upon Peter. That's where you go worship at. But at the same time, you can have worship anywhere, any kind of way. I mean, let's be for real, because if it was so much holiness going on, we wouldn't have all this hell in these churches. If it was so much holiness going on, preachers wouldn't be in there getting the daughters pregnant, sleeping with the first lady. And also, a guy walking the church right there in Lake Charles, Louisiana, shot the preacher dead while he was preaching. And also another case in Georgia where the preacher actually shot the guy because he got his fiance pregnant. He was about to get married. Got the man's wife, well, future wife, but she wasn't his wife no more, but got the woman pregnant. And the guy walked in church to confront him, and the preacher shot him dead. You know, so it ain't where you at. It ain't what you're doing or anything like that. It is what you're talking about and what you stand for, and basically what you represent. If you represent the truth, you can stand outside on the corner and just have just as strong as the impact as somebody with TD Jakes speaking at the potter's house, because the word gonna travel, the truth is gonna get around. So let me know what you all think about this situation, because like I said, we could take this a million different ways and flip it, but I just can't stand these people who think they're holier than thou, like they never made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Because I was the same one that was condemned, where I used to try to fit in with certain kind of people, where people telling my ex, you know what I'm saying, I got more than one ex, but telling my one of my exes some years ago that she didn't need me because I wasn't in a church like that. But hell, come to find out, neither was her ass in a church like that. I mean, she was worse than me. You feel what I'm saying? So all this talking about, you go to church and you meet somebody. Look, if it's meant for you to find somebody, you're going to find them. Because you can go right to the church. Because guess what? Last time I checked, a lot of those women in those churches are single. So if the church was all this and it was all about love, can somebody explain to me why so many people in there single and looking for love elsewhere? You know what I'm saying? You know how you come in there, they be looking at all that, and you probably been going to church for years, and then they just staring in your face, wanting you to say something, and you can feel it. I mean, let's be for real. If you're an adult and you know what time it is, been around a block more than one time, you know when somebody giving you those googly eyes in the church, and they can be sitting right there with their husband or be sitting right there with their wives. Let's keep it real right there. But at the same time, I mean, all this double talking, all this double speaking, what these preachers be doing, if they really meant for good, anytime something happens to someone that look like them, and no matter if it's no one that look like them, if it was a white person, if it was a Mexican person, if you stand for right, you stand for right regardless of the color the person is. And that's another thing that I don't like. When I do videos, if the guy is wrong, I'm gonna say he's wrong, but I don't give a damn if he's orange. I don't care if he's pink. I don't care who or what race or nationality or creed or culture he come from on the planet of Earth. If he was killed unjustly, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to say that he did not deserve to die. All this talking about, well, they did us like that and all this and that, I don't want to hear that. That's why I don't even entertain that. This is not the channel for that. You know what I'm saying? This is for everyone, whoever want to listen. I don't claim I know everything, but one damn thing I know how to do is think for myself, and I do that very well. And I can tell when someone is BSing me. Let me know what you all think about this video. And also, if you want to share some of your stories about some of the hypocrisy that you've seen in your churches, because I can go on all day, but I'm gonna cut it short right now, and we'll pick this up at another time, because I guarantee you another preacher gonna come along in a few more days or a week or two, and you know what I'm saying, and we'll continue right then. Let me know what you all think. If you like the video, push that like button. If you like, subscribe. Definitely share the video with these fake people that who talk down to everybody. Did you go to Sunday school today? Did you go to church? Okay, well, did you feed that homeless man that was walking by you that day? No, you did not feed that homeless man that was walking by you that day. Did you go over there and tell that hooker on the street that she didn't have to be like that? That that God loved her and that you love her because you took out the time to speak to her and try to uplift her? Do you do that? So how you gonna sit up and say just because you go up in a building that makes everything all right? No, that's nothing. You got to get out there on the highways and byways. That's where it's really at. That's where the fight at. The fight is not in these buildings. The fight is out here on the street. Those are the people who really need you. The people in those buildings, you know what I'm saying, they just pretending. But anyway, we're gonna leave it there. Let me know what you all think. Till next time, y'all stay blessed. If you like the video, push that like button. If you like, subscribe, definitely share the video. I'm out.